Alrighty, we are live. So we got a couple of topics to talk about today. We're going to be talking about, if you guys are here, after the fact of being live, we're going to be talking about Dewanna Bonner, who apparently has just dipped from Phoenix. Who has been bought out after being waived. She has just dipped. She's done it again. The quitter. The quitter being the quitter. That's all I'm going to say. The quitter has been the quitter. That being said, again, it's an interesting one, but Caitlin Clark has been it's been a mad thing. It has been a mad thing. Like she really dipped from two teams. This is mad. This is actually mad. What is going on? The quitter has been a quitter. Like, she's done it again. She's done it again. So, lads, we're going to talk about the Dewanna shit first. So, Dewanna Bonner. If you don't know, again, there's a reason why we called her the quitter last year. And again, everyone's talking about, what were the big things with Dewanna? It's like, my thing was like, the reason for Dewanna leaving the Fever is, I don't want to be the fifth option anymore. Dewanna is now gone. And it says here, Nick, the GM, says the buyout gives her the opportunity to chase a title in what could be her final postseason. And she said last week she's not retiring. Basically, she's like, this team stinks. Get me out of here. Like, this team stinks. And like, they were never going to make the playoffs at the trade deadline. They were never going to make the playoffs at the deadline. Like, it's as simple as that. They were at the deadline, there was a near 0% chance this team made the playoffs. Why would they not try to trade her? Why? Because no one would trade for Dewanna Bonner. 2 years in a row, no one would trade Dewanna Bonner. And the thing is that, when it comes to Dewanna, is they couldn't just cut her. They effectively cut her. They effectively just waived her. Because they have the cap space to bring in somebody. They effectively cut her, but they have to pay her off. They have to pay her to cut her. And there is zero chance, by the way, because if they waived her, she would get her full money. So the fact it's a buyout means it's a her decision. Like, it is probably a her decision. Chase a title, anyone puts her in championship level rotation is going to get worse. So she leaves the Fever to join the Mercury just to leave again. The Aces don't have the money to do it. Like, I don't think people understand. It's literally the Wings. The Wings have the money to cut somebody. The Dream don't. I see who has the money. The Mystics do. I need to see what the cap summary is. So who in the playoffs has the money to do this? Oh shit, the Atlanta Dream actually can. The Dream can sign her. The Dream can. And I hope the Atlanta Dream do. I hope the Atlanta Dream sign her. I really do. That would be unbelievable. The Wings have the cap room to sign her. The Dream have the cap room to sign her. The Fever don't. The Aces don't. The Lynx don't. The Liberty do. The Liberty can sign her. They have the cap room to sign her. The Mystics obviously have the cap room to sign her. The Valks don't. So the Wings, the Dream, the Liberty, and the Valks. And yeah, you know what? Like, she did say she would go to Atlanta, like, if that her choices were between the Mercury and the Dream. I really want her to go to Atlanta. Like, what is she going to bring in Atlanta? Seriously. What is she going to bring in Atlanta? At all. Like, what is she going to do in Atlanta? What's she going to do anywhere? Like, maybe the Valkyries, she can give the Valkyries something. Like, the Valkyries for me is the only team that I'm like, this is straight up, like, the only team that I'm like, could be made better by the addition of Dewanna Bonner. The Liberty don't need her. You know what? Fuck it. The Liberty might. The Liberty are just talent stacking. Like, they've already cut Benice Laney Hamilton from Marine Photo. And fuck it. They might just say, Beck Allen, we think Bonner's better and you're retiring anyway at the end of this year. Go take a hike. Like, Dallas is Dallas. I mean, does she make the Dallas Wings better? Is she better than Alicia Clark? Sure. Imagine if the Fever didn't sign Mercedes Russell and the Fever decided we're going to bring back Dewanna Bonner. Imagine if she said, you know what? I regret leaving you guys. I'm coming back. But no, I don't really know where she's going to sign, because I'm looking through the Liberty roster and I'm like, I get it. They have the cap space for her. They do have the cap space. But like, where is that going to, who are they going to cut? They're not cutting Hand. They're not cutting Gardner. Maybe they cut Gardner? But she's a restricted free agent next year, and Gardner's worth a little bit. And like, Maley's on a dev deal. So I can't necessarily see it being the Liberty. But like, Dewanna Bonner is going out incredibly sad. She is going out so sad. She's going out so sad. Someone said Stewie Muse, the Liberty don't need her. Hell of a way to end your career, going out like a clown these last couple of years. Back to Indy. Imagine if, like, they can't. The Fever can't afford it. But imagine if Indy did it. Imagine. She's chancing the funniest thing. My guess is like going to the Fever. But no, she don't want to play anymore. She don't want to play unless it's in. Like, she's legitimately quit on a team with her partner. Like, she quit on the Fever to go back playing with Alyssa, and then quit on Alyssa when it didn't work out. Like, it is objectively hilarious. It is objectively hilarious here. Because it's one of these things, like, ran from the Fever, she got benched, ran from the Mercury and got eliminated from playoffs. She quit again, contract mean nothing to her, ring chasing FC, here we go. She just left her wife mid-season after doing it all to go back and play with her. Like, someone said, I don't blame you at all. This is the same account that Dewanna Bonner herself got on Twitter to call out for using Alyssa Thomas's likeness. When am I coming back to my team? Man, tomorrow. If 2K give me early access, I'm back tomorrow. If not, I'll be back the next day. But I'll have some videos up today. But tomorrow. But like, it is mad. It is mad. As he said, we're 1 year removed from Alyssa Thomas screaming at Indie fans saying she left to join a real team and then she quits. Like, her legacy is going to be the quitter. The quitter. That is going to be Dewanna Bonner's legacy. Like, we originally planned on, I had originally planned on not talking about this topic, and then all of a sudden, this topic comes up. And Dewanna's not even in the thumbnail. There we go. She's in the actual thumbnail right now. But we're now looking at a situation where we are looking at players just flat out quitting. And I think you could have got, if you're Dewanna Bonner, you could have got away with this in the past. In the past, I think you could get away with quitting. You could get away with a lot of things. You could get away with leaving teams. You get away with running from the grind. You get away with leaving when things went badly because nobody cared about the league. And I'm not saying Dewanna Bonner did any of those things because I don't think she did. In fairness, Dewanna Bonner didn't, as far as I'm aware, didn't do any of those things. That being said, other players did and got away with it. Other players pulled a Dwight Mayer, pulled a Jimmy Butler, pulled what James Harden has done. Except in the NBA, their reputations get tarnished by that. Dwight Howard his reputation never recovered from Dwight Mayer. His reputation never recovered from Dwight Mayer at all. And in the WNBA, any player who's pulled this, like again, Elena Deladon retired instead of playing in Washington. Washington called her and she basically just said, fuck this, I'm going to retire instead. Like she was an all-star in 2023 and then basically just said, you know what, I'd rather retire than have to deal with your bullshit. And yeah, look, this is all around just one of those mad decisions where a player might have screwed their guaranteed Hall of Fame spot. Like, and any team that hires her, I don't understand why they would. And with that being said, Dewanna Bonner quitting, we got to talk about really what teams can afford her, why she was cut, and who is probably going to sign her. For saying, do we still know why she dissed the Fever? As far as anyone's aware, it was just a basketball decision. As far as any of us are aware, it was purely a basketball decision, and it wasn't like it was anything to do with anything like individual. That being said, again, it is something that we have to talk about here because Nalissa Smith, I forgot about that. Vegas might be able to sign her because of Nalissa. Someone just mentioned that. Vegas legitimately could sign her because they lose Nalissa Smith. I was looking at the cap space. The problem is that it just depends on how bad Nalissa Smith's injury is. Like, is Nalissa Smith's injury something like a year-long injury? Because if Nalissa Smith is healthy before November, like if you've seen it with Toronto only have 7 players in a few days because Sykes is supposed to be coming back. Not coming back. Sykes would be back by the end of the finals, even though they're out of the playoffs, and she's not going to be back until the playoffs. And it's one of those things now where maybe Vegas is one of those teams that want to sign her. But realistically, the Fever don't have the money. The New York Liberty have the money but aren't going to sign her. So it's between the Dallas Wings, the Atlanta Dream, potentially the Las Vegas Aces, depending on Nalissa Smith, and the Washington Mystics. The one team I think we're going to rule out is the Washington Mystics. If she's trying to chase a title, she's not going to Washington. She's not going to Washington. So we are then, and realistically, she's not going to Dallas if she's trying to chase a title. We are basically now down to Atlanta and Vegas. And does she make any difference to those two teams? And to be honest, I think Mercedes Russell sucks. But at least with Mercedes Russell, her being on the roster means there's no chance they decide we're going to go and try to bring back Dewanna Bonner and see what happens. They're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. And that is all we need to see, is they're just not going to pull this crap. That is what we want to, that is all you want. So, Vegas. Does she make the Las Vegas Aces better? Sure. She is better than Stephanie Talbot. But I still don't like what she brings to the Aces. The Aces literally just sign old wash vets. That's what they do. My guess is that the Aces have already like her ready to be signed. That would be what my guess is, or the Atlanta Dream. That one of them have her ready to be signed. The problem is with the Atlanta Dream, which is the really shit thing, is that they're probably going to be getting rid of Sika Kone. And Sika Kone would have been a much better player for the Fever to pick up than Mercedes Russell. But again, hindsight's 2020. But like, if you look at the Aces roster here, their starting 5 would be Jackie Young, Stephanie Talbot, Dewanna, who again, like, Dewanna Bonner has sucked this season. She's shooting 26% from three and 39% from the field while playing no defense. Like, she's had a couple of good games. Like, she had 23 against Portland a couple of games ago. She had 25 in a loss against the Liberty. I think, did she have one good game against Indy, I think? Yeah, she had one pretty good game with Indy and the one they won by 2. But like, she's shooting 26. She's shooting sub 40 and sub 30 and sub 27. But like, their starting power forward probably is Bree Turner for the rest of the season. And like, Bree Turner can't really play basketball. Like, Bree Turner looks like somebody who's, if you watch Bree Turner play, she looks like, if you've ever watched footage of like 7 foot tall kids that get brought over to America from overseas and they have no coordination, never really played basketball before because they were just a scout spotted them playing soccer and are like, these people are kind of coordinated for 7 foot tall. We can turn them into basketball players. That's what Bree Turner looks like, them on their first day. Cheyenne Parker-Tice isn't going to do anything. Yeah, a former All-Star. She's not going to do anything. Mayan Moto's not going to do anything. Justine Bassot's not going to bring anything in the playoffs. Like, even with Alyssa Smith, these are Aja Wilson and Jackie Young. And if they play an entire playoff of close games, Chelsea Gray can help you. This is not a team that's going to win a championship. They're just not. They're just not. They do not have the talent. They have not recruited well on the margins. They are, like, outside of having Aja Wilson, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray, they have done a worse job surrounding their big three than the Fever have. They just have a better coach than the Fever. However, the Atlanta Dream, it feels like they're the team. So, with the Atlanta Dream, their roster doesn't change. Their starting five doesn't change. So, we don't know how long Bree Jones is going to be out for. And they have the money to cut somebody. So, Aaliyah Nye is doing nothing. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough is doing nothing. So, maybe they'll get rid of them and get rid of Sika Kone. But, like, you've got size. You've got a good point guard. You've got a good point guard. You've got a solid, if not spectacular, backup point guard in Tatina Papau. You have a solid, if not spectacular, backup wing in Izzy Borlase. And, like, their bench really hasn't had much. Especially with Hillman starting. Like, Hillman, Reese, their best bench player is Borlase. So I kind of get it. I kind of get why Dewanna Bonner comes in there. But for being better, just being better than Aaliyah Nye makes Dewanna Bonner improve this team. Like, Dewanna Bonner absolutely improves the Atlanta Dream. Again, I don't think it makes the Atlanta Dream contenders or anything, or like real contenders. It makes them better. Like, it would make them favored in a first round series against the Fever. It would. In terms of the way it would be perceived, adding Dewanna Bonner gives them the bench advantage over the Fever because Dewanna Bonner, at worst, is an equivalent. But it's saying here again, Dewanna Bonner will have to clear waivers. The problem is that we've seen from last year, Dewanna Bonner is going to tell every team not to take her. I was going to tweet this here before. We heard this last year. She 100% has a team already signed, already decided. And her agent is telling all her teams not to sign her. Like, we have Dewanna doing Dewanna things. Like, could you imagine being a top 20 greatest player in the history of this league? And the only thing that people will remember you for is quitting. And you've done it twice. You've done it twice. You've not just done it with the Indiana Fever. You've done it twice. You've done it not once, but twice. But I don't think Dewanna Bonner is going to swing the pendulum of the title or anything. Like, I think there's a world where she would have made the Minnesota Lynx much better. And in fairness, the Valks can sign her. I think we're just assuming that she's not going to sign with Golden State Because it's this weird thing where the vet old free agents don't want to sign with Golden State because they are a ruthless franchise. They will, if you're not good enough, they don't care who you are, they will cut you. They are absolutely ruthless. And when it comes to the Valkyries, I don't think Dewanna wants that. I don't think she wants a ruthless franchise. I think she wants to be going to a very, very it's one of those things where Dewanna, she wants to play for, the Al Cushy situation. She wants to play for old WNBA, which is more so than anything the Las Vegas Aces. She's going to be a Las Vegas Ace, and it's going to make it even sweeter when the Aces lose because they have Dewanna Bonner. It's going to make it even sweeter. They agreed that before the buyout where she was going. And look, the Dream are still an option. The Valkyries are an outside chance, but let's be real. It's almost certainly the Aces. She ain't Candace Parker. I mean, Candace Parker went to the Aces and got injured. But yeah, a mad one. An absolute mad one there. Couldn't believe I was starting live and I'm like, there's no way. There is no way this has happened. Who's next head coach at Fever? Mystics should sign a bench. That'd be hilarious. If the Mystics go and clear off waivers, that would be hilarious. That would be objectively hilarious. But yeah, I kind of want to talk about the Dijonais. I want to talk about the Dijonais situation. Because when it comes down to it, Dijonais Carrington has destroyed her reputation. She has absolutely destroyed her reputation. And the last couple of weeks have not been good to her. They've really not been, because everybody knew coming into the Indiana Fever game, she's not there taking off people's heads in every game. We saw when Mo Billings was running in a layup, we saw what an actual chase down block or what an actual block from behind looks like. When she actually did swap Monique Billings, we saw what it looks like when you're trying to do that. It didn't look anything like that when she took out Sophie Cunningham. And then she went all in on 8-23. And she was obviously wrong. She meant 8 threes for Caitlin Clark and a 23-point loss. And everyone's joking. 8-23 is actually the day they were eliminated from playoff contention. And the worst part about all this is that, if you watched the game yesterday, she started off really well. She started off real well. And I'm not going to pretend she didn't. The second Caitlin Clark checked into that game, it was like a switch flipped. It was like, I am going to Aura Farm. The only thing I care about is getting my clips. Is the only thing that matters. Is that. And because she went out of way circling the game in her calendar and immediately went into taunt Caitlin Clark, she's getting a brick center game. 14,000 people liking a brick center tweet. She is the most nothing player in the league. And people, because she has made it her mission to be the anti-Caitlin Clark, because she locked down Caitlin Clark once. She did. She absolutely did. First game of Caitlin Clark's career, Caitlin didn't really know what was going on in the WNBA. And Dijonais Carrington locked her down. She has since made it her mission to go at Caitlin Clark. And like even Caitlin Clark, the whole game yesterday, she's trying to like shit talk Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin's just walking past her like, you really, you? Like Caitlin Clark will shit talk people. And this reminds me almost of the, the scoreboard, where like everything Dejanay was trying to do, Caitlin was just like, really? Like all of that. And the worst part is that she had one of the, like, she went 3 of 11 from the field after starting out 2 for 3. After Caitlin checked in the game, she went 1 of 8 the rest of the way. She started shooting Dirk fades, fade away jumpers, 30-foot threes. This is a player who literally, the only thing that Dejanay Carrington is a good basketball player. But like she is that good defender, gonna run the floor, I'm gonna cut, I'm gonna score. Like she is in the Lexi Hole mold as a player. That is what she is. She is in the Lexi Hole mold as a player. She decided she wanted to be the main story yesterday. And the Chicago Sky, I'm not going to say lost because of it, but it didn't help the Chicago Sky win the game. I'll say that for sure. Did not help Chicago win that game. In any way. The Chicago Sky were not helped in any way by Dejanay's antics. And Dejanay, in my opinion, in terms of like staying in the league and their worth, it's a similar situation to Sophie Cunningham, where they're good players, but they're going to cause minimum one national crisis a year. They're going to be at the center of a national crisis every single year. And Dejanay doesn't shoot 45% from 3. She doesn't shoot 45% from 3. There's a big difference. Like, she doesn't talk, she doesn't shoot 45% from 3. Her defense is mostly hypothetical right now. And I think she has lost herself. I think if she just put her head, she was on a max contract last year. I think if she just put her head down and played, and these 2 Indiana Fever games did not happen, Dejanay Carrington is on $750K a year. I think because of these 2 Indiana Fever games, Dejanay Carrington is a $350K a year player. I think she might have cost herself the guts of $1 million based on what she did in these 2 games. Based on mostly what she did in the first game leading into the second game. But also getting cooked so badly by Caitlin that it can affect things. If you don't know, if you've never heard the story, have you ever heard the story of Maicon? So Maicon is one of the greatest right backs of all time. He was in the World Team of the Year in 2010, or was it 2009 or something? And then there was this young left back turned left winger called Garrett Bale from Spurs. Maicon was meant to be the best player in the world at his position, and an elite defender, a good attacker, and Garrett Bale ran past him. That's all he did. He just kicked the ball past him and beat him in a sprint and scored a hat-trick in one game and had like 3 assists in another game as Spurs, I think, did Spurs win and draw against Inter Milan? And he was meant to be the best. From that point on, every single team put a fast winger on Maicon and just kicked it into space and ran past him. He went from being seen as the best in the world to a liability in 2 weeks because somebody exposed his one flaw. Dejanay got cooked so badly by Caitlin that any, and I mean coach worth a damn, will know how to get wide open every single possession when you're being guarded by Dejanay Carrington. Because the way she guarded Caitlin is the way she guards everybody. She got cooked so badly that any coach worth a damn is going to have a plan of, okay, good guard. If Dejanay's guarding you, this is what you do. You're going to get wide open. You're going to get wide open shots every single time. And that is the problem, is that her worth is going to be lower She's shooting 27% from field, 29% from three. Yeah. So her defense isn't what it was. Her offense isn't there. And not only that, she's going to cause one national crisis a year. And like, let's be very clear. Like, Tash Cloud was nearly out of the league for being outspoken. Tash Cloud doesn't nearly start a national crisis every single year. She doesn't. And she's way better than Dejanay. Way better. And the thing is, where it's like, I think with people with Sophie Cunningham, is that Sophie Cunningham this year has probably done similar. Like, Sophie Cunningham's probably was worth $750K coming into this season. I think Sophie Cunningham's lowered her value to maybe $400K because as decent as Sophie Cunningham is, she's probably not worth having a national crisis and having to answer questions for her. Unless you're a team like the Fever. So teams are going to get her on the cheap. In a similar boat. But like, she is costing herself a shit ton of money. And it's all been her own doing. Every bit of it has been her own doing. There's no other way of describing it. It has all been her own doing. I got to talk about this. And this is so frustrating again with Cindy Brunson. Like, this post is down. So I hope there is an ability to kind of sit back and almost reflect on some really dumb takes and some really bad takes and being like, okay, have I let my bias against this individual player get in the way of how I talk about them? Because let's be very clear. Wherever you are in the media, whether you are in her position, where I think she is credentialed media, or my position, where I'm just talking, you have to be able to give opinions and be able to, if you're talking about the sport, be able to remove whether or not you like a player from your thought. Like, look, I don't love a lot of shit Angel Reese does. And I've made that very, very clear. Angel Reese has been a top 10 player this year. Like, she's clearly all WNBA. Clearly. Like, you don't outplay A'ja Wilson multiple times and be arguably the best player on the fourth best team and not make an all WNBA team. You just don't. Paige frustrates me, but overall, I like Paige as a human. But she frustrates me. That doesn't mean she's not clearly all WNBA second team. Like, you can have your biases. Like, again, up till this season, I didn't like Alyssa Thomas. She was unbelievable last season. Bad this year, but still. And you see it here. Cindy Brunson missed me with that stat padding 37 points on the floor with up 20 with a minute to go BS. The 32 and 26 minutes is way more impressive from the star on the playoff team from the Lone Star State. So, what did Paige Bueckers do? Her team was up 20 in the first quarter. They were up 20 in the first quarter against the last place Seattle Storm. And by the way, what Paige Bueckers did was incredibly impressive yesterday. Paige was incredible yesterday, and I am not going to say otherwise. Because she was fantastic. She was absolutely fantastic. Like, you can only play who is in front of you. And she had 32 points on ridiculous efficiency against a scrappy team. Caitlin Clark had 37 points on elite efficiency against a team who just beat the Valkyries and the Liberty while being guarded by Tash Cloud, Dejanay, JC, who are all considered good defenders. Two of them considered all defensive level players in the eyes of the public. Two of them are considered that. And I'm like, how is this logic there? This is the Caitlin Clark hater logic, where it's like, whatever Caitlin Clark does against teams under 500 doesn't matter. But Angel Reese, who is going to deserve to win Eastern Conference Player of the Week. She's going to deserve to win Eastern Conference Player of the Week. I'm not going to question that. I'm really not. But she did it against 2 of those 3 games. The 20-point, 10 and 8 game on 100% shooting was against a terrible team. As was her 31-point game. We're against non-playoff teams. Doesn't matter. They were exceptional games. She's absolutely deserving of Player of the Week. You can only play who's in front of you. And in a league where half the teams make and half the teams miss the playoffs, you can't discount games against half the teams. Stat padding up. If she wanted the stat pad, she would have had 40 points. You can't get pulled right 3 points with 2 minutes to go. She was 3 points away from making history. From a historic game. And they were up 16 points and she got pulled. If she wanted the stat padding with Caitlin Clark was like, was it against Portland? Trying to funnel, to force feed 2 assists in the last 3 minutes of the game for triple-double. If you want to call out Caitlin Clark's stat padding, that was it. That was it. But like, it was a 4-point game during the fourth quarter. This was a game. This was a game the whole way because, newsflash, the Sky are good. The Sky are really good. The Sky have been a better than 500 team since Dejanay and Sloot have come back. They are good. They are genuinely, genuinely good. Someone said I Angel Reese is 10th. I named another Niner players 25 double-doubles. I don't give a shit about double-doubles. I really don't. Like, okay, the best rebounder in the league is going to have the most double-doubles. Wow, no fucking shit. Like, what are we talking about? The best rebounder in the league is going to lead the league in double-doubles every single year of their career. Wow. But, like, this is the logic. This is the Caitlin Clark hate logic. And then it's the annoying thing, like, you go on her Twitter, and it's like, so many people have been hyping Angel Reese on Twitter, and then, of course, the post she retweets is from Trendy, which, again, is a Caitlin Clark hate page. You're like, and not only is it a Caitlin Clark hate page, is again, you are allowed to be biased against a player, but when that bias leads to posting edited pictures of that player with yellow teeth and their forehead moved up to like here, or their hairline moved up to here, making it look like they have a giant forehead, then yeah, you as media should not be reposting them. That is absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine. And that is the weird thing, is like, if you think what Paige Bueckers did yesterday was more impressive than what Caitlin Clark did yesterday, cool. So what? So what? Paige was unbelievable. Like, in the last, 48 hours, we have seen one of the 5 best games of Caitlin Clark's career, one of the 5 best games of Paige's career, and probably the best game of Angel Reese's career. No, I still think rookie year Angel Reese versus the Seattle Storm is her best game of her career. But, like, second best game of Angel Reese's career. All of those things are true, and they were all incredible games. If you want to say Game A or Game B was more impressive than what Caitlin Clark did, be my guest, they were incredible. But to try say one game is better than the other because the other was stat padded and the other was ethical. Like, Caitlin played 30 minutes. She played 30 minutes in a close game. Sorry, she played 31 minutes. So she played 5 more minutes, had 5 more points. Cool. Could Paige have had 40 if she played 5 more minutes? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But like, the difference is that the Indiana Fever's game was a close game till 5 minutes to go. They were down at halftime. They weren't up 20 at the end of the first quarter. So, newsflash, Caitlin Clark had to be in the game. If Caitlin Clark checked herself out of this game to try lower her points, newsflash, the Fever lose. Caitlin was plus 20 in that game. Kelsey was plus 20. If Caitlin Clark says, you know what, I don't want to be seeing a stat padding, I'm going to check myself out with 6 minutes to go in this game when it's a 9-point game. I'm going to check myself out of a 9-point game with 6 minutes to go because, you know, I don't want to be criticized of stat padding. The Fever probably lose. They probably lose. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, if the Fever were up 20 in the first quarter and Caitlin Clark is in this game up 20 the entire way, but no, this was a back and forth game. The Fever were down in the third quarter. What are we doing? And again, yes, there is no team that loses double-digit leads like the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever have lost lost a 20-point lead against Vegas. They have lost so many double-digit leads. It's not even funny. They lost a 17-point lead to this Chicago Sky team 3 weeks ago in 5 minutes. They were like 17 with 5 minutes ago and won by 3. It happens. What are we doing? What are we doing, Cindy? Come on. At least this post is down. But come on. Come on. Like, and again, every single person has biases. Every single person has players they're going to like or players they're going to dislike. But like, when you are actually, talking about the game, and I get it, like, you can criticize players, you can laugh at players. Heck, you can tweet and laughing about Caitlin Clark's stinking in the clutch against New York. You can tweet about Caitlin Clark stinking against Dallas because she sucked against Dallas. But come on. When it gets to the stage where you're trying to pretend that a 37-point 10-assist game in a close game doesn't count because of stat padding, then you're no different than the people that pretend that Angel Reese is terrible at basketball. It's the same difference. But I do want to talk about this. Welcome back, Lexi Hull. Welcome back, Lexi Hull. It's about damn time. It's about damn time. And look, the positive thing with Lexi Hull, even when she was struggling, was that she was getting in the right positions. Like, you could tell she was working her ass off, even when it wasn't working. When it wasn't working, you could still tell that Lexi Hull was doing everything she could to help her team win. She was working her ass off, and it just wasn't working out. She was the Fever's leading scorer early in this game. She was getting offensive rebounds. Like, I get it. This was a good shooting game. And if you know anything about Lexi Hull, she just needs a spark. Like, everyone talks about, like, streaky shooters. There's nobody quite like Lexi Hull. Because she goes on 15-game cold streaks and 10-game hot streaks. I've never seen anything like it before with Lexi Hull. I have never in my life seen a player like Lexi Hull in the way she plays. Because she goes from nuclear hot to ice cold in a flash. And then she goes nuclear hot. And then she'll go ice cold for 10 games. And then she'll go nuclear hot for 15 games. Like, if you've ever looked at Lexi's career, she doesn't have, like, outlier good games. She goes and has great spells of games. And I also have to give credit to Lexi Hull for what was, for the first time in a long time, a good defensive game. Like, Lexi has been very poor defensively. But even, like, this season as well, if you look, she had streak of 9, 9, 16, 9. And then didn't have 9 points. And then only had more than 9 points once over the next 12 games. And then she went 10, 14, 10. Her next games were 0, 2, 2. And then she's had a 14-point game. She was poor against Liberty, but she had a 9-point game against Dallas. And again, look, she is shooting over 50% from three. Sorry, no, exactly 50% from three over her last 3 games. She just didn't get any shots because Sophie Cunningham had played most of her minutes against New York. So, look, Lexi's contract is an issue for the offseason. It is. What are they going to do with it? Are they going to move on from Lexi? How are they going to figure this out? But, like, that's a problem for the offseason. That's not a problem for today. That's not a problem for tomorrow. It's not a problem for then. That being said, again, for now, all you have to do with Lexi is just hope that she plays the rest of the season and she gets in a hot streak at the right time. Because if she gets in a hot streak right before the playoffs, and people saying talking about the FIBA break, Lexi tends to start season as well, and she was great after the Olympic break. If we get 7 point per game Lexi Hull, that's a positive on defense. Like, that's all you need. Like, you need... Lexi Hull's contract is a terrible contract. But if she at least plays up to the really good role player bill, which is what, like, people have said with Lexi Hull, all people want is for Lexi Hull to be a good role player. Like, at this stage. Yes, obviously, I think there were a lot of people that were kind of hoping Lexi Hull would take a step up after the contract. Not happening. Absolutely not happening in any way. But at the same time, we just need to get 2025 Lexi back. We just need to get 2024 Lexi back. Because she doesn't have to, in crunch time, guard. She just needs to be a pest on defense. She just needs to be a pest. She doesn't need to guard anybody. Caitlin Clark can do that late in games. She can go and guard late in games. Make layups, shoot 35% from open threes, and crash the board and get a couple of offensive boards a game. And a couple of times, like at least once a game, she goes for an offensive rebound and crashes so hard that the opposing player hits the ball out of bounds instead of coming down to rebound. Like, do that a few times. Genuinely. Do that a couple of times a game. And just be positive. Like, all the Fever need is for, on any given game, one of Lexi and Sophie to play well. One of Lexi or Sophie to play well. They don't need both of them to play well. You just need one of them. And that's all we are looking for. But yesterday, thank God Lexi Hull stepped up, because she had been all over the place. Like, it was bad. It was really bad. And I've said this the whole time. I have been as critical on Lexi as anyone. I have been incredibly critical of Lexi Hull. And I think it's been, justified in a lot of ways. I think the criticism has been justified. I don't think that I've been overly harsh on Lexi Hull. I think she's been bad. And it's one of those things where it's like, because Lexi seems like such a good person, it can be hard to criticize her, and it's clearly a confidence issue. The problem is that regardless of why it's happening, it is happening, and I think it wouldn't be justified, because I like Lexi Hull, to not criticize her game in a similar way as I would to a player that I probably don't like as much as Lexi Hull. But this is all we need. And again, she's not going to shoot 75% from field and 66% from three. Shoot 45%. You know what? With the shots she takes, shoot 50% from the field and 35% from three on wide opens. Wide opens. And just be a positive defender. That's all you have to be. Don't need to be all WNBA, because I think if we're being honest, I think that might be it. I don't think she's out here going to be all WNBA. All defense. We don't need that. We just need a solid defender. We need any production. Literally just any production. And even if that production is just working your ass off, then so be it. And so be it. Just catch the ball, make layups. That's all we need. That is all we need at this stage. So yeah, Lexi, hopefully this is the start of a lot of things. Hopefully this is the start of her really stepping it up. Hopefully. I'm going to talk about two more topics, then we're going to leave it. We got to talk about this. This is ridiculous. Yesterday's game was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Look at her arm. Look at Caitlin's arm. She was out there pointing at her arm as she's being hacked. And the referees were like, we don't see it. We don't see it. She's out there getting hacked. And the referees were just like, no. Natasha Cloud wanted this to be overturned. Literally wanted this to be challenged. Tash Cloud just goes... and this isn't even the right picture. So she grabbed Caitlin, pushed Caitlin, and then hooked Caitlin Clark's arm while Azurá Stevens reaches in. Tash Cloud said this was no foul. Two of them are fouling her. Two of them are at her arm. And her game ends with her arm being completely scratched up. And the referees are like, oh yeah, Caitlin's flopping. One of these scrapes, I think it was this scrape here, when she turned the ball over for Elizabeth Williams. She's literally going to the ref and just pointing at her arm, and there's a massive scratch on it, just pointing at her arm. And it's like, it's actually ridiculous. It's like, she should go and pull, it's kind of a thing that people always say, like with the rugby jerseys. They made rugby jerseys a lot tighter because it's obvious. If you grab a jersey, it becomes really obvious to the referees. It's one of those things that if you're Caitlin and you don't feel, bad wearing, obviously she's always playing with no sleeves, but if she would play with tight sleeves, all of a sudden, like, the referees would be seeing people scratching. Like, she just pointed and be like, she literally ripped my sleeves. She literally ripped my sleeves. The referees can't ignore it if you're seeing, like, fabric getting pulled instead of just going at her. Like, this is the worst it's been. And again, Caitlin Clark has shot, I shit you not, like, when was the last time Caitlin Clark shot more than 4 free throws in a game? When was the last time Caitlin Clark actually shot more than 4 free throws in a game? Toronto. Where she hit 7, but I think 1 was a technical. And then 1 was against Dallas. The Dallas one was a tech. Like, Dallas just hacked her. Dallas rugby tackled her. And then Paige just yanked her arm. She says shot 0 free throws. 0. Like, on the year, 83% of the free throw line is terrible for Caitlin. It really is. But, like, teams are just hacking her. They're hacking her. They're going at her arms. And it's not really the at the basket ones that are a problem, because Caitlin does throw herself at the ground at the basket. It's hard to judge them. Like, the thing is with referees, they don't want to call every single possession. They don't. They don't want to, every single possession, call a foul. And I kind of get that. But the problem is that call them early. Call 2 in the first possession, in the first 2 possessions of the game. If people foul Caitlin Clark twice in the first 2 possessions, call them. And then if they keep doing it again, call it again. Literally call it till they stop fouling. And if they start fouling again, call it first time. Someone says she fouls and flops and throws her arms and head back all the time, yells at refs. Yeah, and if the refs just called, she wouldn't have to flop. The problem is, have you ever seen Caitlin Clark get a foul call where she doesn't throw her head back? You can't complain about Caitlin Clark flopping when this is happening and the refs aren't blowing their whistle. Caitlin Clark, I've never seen her get a foul call when she's throws her head back. When she doesn't throw her head back. She has to. Unfortunately, she has to. Because it is one of those things where the referees don't call it. If the referees, if the referees were blowing their whistle properly, I would absolutely be on the side where this is ridiculous. Same with the complaining to refs. Like, I tweeted out, like, none of these, by the way, were called as fouls. None of these. So in yesterday's game, none of these were called as fouls. So this was not a foul called on Caitlin Clark. Paige had to go back for more. This was not called as a foul. This was not called as a foul. Whether there's intent or not, this is a flagrant one. This was not called as a foul, and this was not called as a foul. 2 eye gouges, one fist to the throat, and one arm yank out of its socket. One arm yank. None of these were called as fouls. 3 of these have been in the last 15 games. This one at least was in 2024. 3 of these were in the last 15 games. None of these were called as fouls. There is nobody that's refereed as badly as she is. Fuck it. Like, she got fouled by Phoebish on a layup late in the game, and everyone's talking about her being dumb for going for a layup. She got hacked. The problem is that, yes, in the past, in 2024, Caitlin struggled with physicality. She absolutely struggled with physicality. There's no question about that. In 2026, Caitlin Clark struggles with getting hacked. It's as simple as that. She struggles with getting hacked. And the referees are doing zilch. I mean zilch to stop the narrative that Caitlin Clark is being targeted by them, and to stop all this social media narrative. Because I can't even say it's a bullshit narrative, because she is the worst refereed player in the league. She is absolutely the worst refereed player in this league, and it's not even close. It's not even close. Like Caitlin with flopping. Caitlin has obviously flopped. Every player in the world has flopped. Every player in the world has embellished contact. Like, we've seen Caitlin go down with no contact. We've seen Paige go down with no contact. We've seen Angel Reese headbutt somebody and then get called for a flagrant foul because she headbutted somebody, and while the player she headbutted fell down, that player grabbed onto her, and she was on the receiving end of a flagrant foul for initiating a headbutt. We've seen Aja consistently flail on jump shots. But, like, when it comes to Caitlin, it's actually a level that I haven't seen before, because, like, it's not as bad anymore, but, like, earlier in the year, Caitlin would look at a player and she would commit a foul. Like, when she was picking up those 5 fouls a game, she would be getting 2, 3, 4 phantom fouls a game. Like, legitimate phantom fouls. Like, not even, like, soft fouls. Like, phantom, as in, like, they were not... There was nothing that could have been deemed as a foul in that scenario. So I have no idea. I have no idea what the league is going to do, because it's not referees need to be seen a certain way. It's now literally like they just are out for her. And the last topic I want to talk about is this. So we have to talk about Enes Kanter. Like, I hate that this is a relevant topic, but it is. Like, it's one of those things where Enes Kanter was at this game, and through 3 quarters, nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit through 3 quarters. I'm going to be real here. Nobody cared. He was posting on Twitter, and people were talking about him. He was doing nothing. He was shit stirring. And look, Enes Kanter's a dumbass. He is. Him and Royce White especially, all they're going to do is anything for attention. If I believed that Enes Kanter actually gave one single fuck about women's sports, then my stance on... Then this might be a bit different. But, like, he clearly doesn't. He clearly doesn't. But Natasha Cloud, why? Why did you go after a fan? And in the case of Enes Kanter, if Enes Kanter didn't stand up and walk towards a player, he took one step towards Natasha Cloud. So yeah, absolutely. People are like, why did he get kicked out when other people didn't for certain things and they got let back in? Because he took a step towards the player. He took a step towards the player. That is why he got kicked out. And Natasha Cloud didn't help, because this was going to be a non-story. This was going to be a nothing burger. And if Natasha Cloud didn't instigate everything, Enes Kanter would have just sat behind the basket. Most people wouldn't have even known he was there, and nothing would have happened. Like, you can like or dislike Enes Kanter all you want, but like, you can't try to fight a fan. And the worst part is that all she has done, Enes Kanter literally has just showed up for attention. No other way of describing it. Like, Enes Kanter is an attention seeker. That's the only reason he was there to that game, was to shit stir. And all that happened was a player got rage baited by him into making Enes Kanter front page news, or in the news again. Enes Kanter showing up to a WNBA game doesn't matter. And it's one of these things where everyone keeps talking about these rallies. I've been to one of these games. It's 10 people. I've seen the videos. It is 10 people standing outside with "We Love Sophie" signs, and then another 10 people standing on the other side opposing them, and neither, like, the general public not barely interacting with either of them. It is just groups standing together doing nothing realistically. And it is irrelevant. It is the most irrelevant thing ever. But it gets made into a much bigger deal when people don't shut up about it. And it's obviously getting made into a much bigger deal when Tash Cloud, who is a player who is already, like, struggling to keep a spot in the league because teams have deemed her not worth the drama, and then she tried to fight a spectator. And even if you don't like Enes Kanter, and let's be real, the majority of people don't like Enes Kanter. Like, people didn't like him when he was an NBA player. People have not liked Enes Kanter for a long, long, long time. And clearly he showed up to shit stir. He showed up to a game to cause a scene, and Natasha Cloud basically made sure that Enes Kanter got his money's worth from those courtside seats. Like, there is no world in which anyone benefits from Natasha Cloud trying to fight him in the crowd. All Tash Cloud, even if she wanted to make her point, wait till the end of the game. Because then Enes Kanter doesn't get the recognition. That is the only thing that he cares about. That is the only thing that like, he cares about at all, is the attention. Because let's be very real. If it does come down to it with the WNBA, that at any stage, a former NBA or a former high-level male basketball player transitions and tries to play in WNBA in an actual case, not the bullshit of Royce White or Enes Kanter are trying to do, if an actual situation where that happens comes to light, or like if that ends up being an actual situation, which has not happened yet in WNBA history, the odds of the WNBA putting in a rule to prevent it are high. But until the situation happens, it's an irrelevant thing that's just causing, especially mid-season, that's causing more outrage. But now, again, you have got a player, or like a player in Tash Cloud, who has essentially gone and given Enes Kanter the attention he desperately craves. And nobody benefits from it. Nobody benefits. At all. But it's it's just annoying looking at it because what Enes Kanter is doing is like nothing. Everyone's like comparing it to Sophie. It's absolutely nothing to do with what Sophie even said or did. But like, the WNBA at some stage are going to put in a rule. But there's no point backing down to public pressure of Enes Kanters to do it. There's no point. Eventually they will. But all the Tash Cloud has done is benefit Enes Kanter. Is make Enes Kanter relevant again. A player who, again, has not been in the NBA for 5 years. But yeah, it is days without drama in the WNBA. Zero. And now you're seeing everything where Caitlin Clark has been blamed for Enes Kanter. I shit you not. We have seen I've seen credential media members blame Caitlin Clark for what Enes Kanter did. I shit you not. I've seen Caitlin Clark get blamed for this. I've seen Caitlin Clark get blamed for Enes Kanter showing up to a game and Tash Cloud trying to fight him. It is ridiculous. It is so dumb. And yeah, he is just... people just giving him exactly what he's wanted. The attention that he's wanted. But anyway, yeah, I'm finished there. So I'm going to leave stream now. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I will see you guys.